While the origin of our considerations remains rooted in addressing sexual harassment by men towards women, today we recognize that the essence of harassment lies not merely in gender dynamics, but in power imbalances, be they hierarchical, social, or otherwise. It involves those who face discrimination and exclusion and those who perpetuate it. Consequently, homosexual and transgender individuals, regardless of their gender, often become victims of harassment. This issue intersects fundamentally with our sexual identity. Our biological sex, assigned at birth, it labels us as male or female, shaping thus the societal framework within which we live. Our sexual orientation. As we grow, we discover our sexual orientation, which may be heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, pansexual, or asexual. As most people are heterosexual, the world is predominantly structured around this orientation. Then comes our gender identity. This refers to our internal sense of belonging to the gender assigned to us at birth. Most individuals identify with their biological sex, known as being cisgender, a word still largely unknown and misunderstood. However, some realize that their societal gender role does not fit them, identifying as transgender, and the world is not inherently accommodating to them. Then comes our gender expression. Everyone, irrespective of their sexual orientation or gender identity, has their unique way of expressing their gender, communicating who they are to the world. Within the acronym LGBTQI+, many people who are non-heterosexual or cisgender find representation. Are these labels necessary? Well, they serve a purpose until they are fully understood, internalized, and transcended. When our attractions, our gender identities, or our expressions deviate from societal expectations, we face violence and harassment. We challenge societal norms, and abuse is often a method used to reinforce these norms. One of the most insidious forms of violence is microaggressions. These subtle, often unrecognized forms of discrimination, when particularly directed at LGBTQI+ individuals, may manifest as use of heterosexist and transphobic terminology, promotion of heteronormative behaviors and culture, stereotyping and prejudicing LGBTQI+ individuals, expressing annoyance or disapproval towards non-heterosexual and non-cisgender people, violating the privacy of transgender, non-binary, or gender-fluid people. How can we counteract gender-based violence and harassment against LGBTQI+ individuals in the workplace and society? Through prevention, by fostering inclusive, safe, and respectful environments where everyone can express their potential and their aspirations authentically. Achieving this involves cultural and organizational shifts within organizations. We must address the fundamental questions: what, why, when, how, and who. Awareness of those issues is the first step towards acquiring the necessary skills, understanding data, facts, behaviors, and inclusive language. Organizational changes require reassessing established practices, processes, protocols, policies. What protections can organizations offer to complement the legislative framework? It involves creating a culture of voice where previously invisible issues are discussed openly, understanding people's needs, and providing appropriate responses. Inclusion means addressing diverse needs arising from our differences. Why does violence and harassment often go unnoticed? Because victims fear speaking out, sometimes due to internalized stigma, and others may not recognize the harm. Observers often fail to acknowledge what they see and hear. We must hence become attentive and responsive. With the momentum of inclusion in the society, despite setbacks, we have the opportunity to play a crucial role in this journey. Even if you're not part of the LGBTQI+ community, we must recognize the relevance of these issues. A 2014 poll conducted by Ipsos in 26 countries worldwide shows that 11% of adults do not identify as heterosexual or cisgender across all generations. The number rises to 17% as we speak about Generation Z. So, what is the role of those of us who are heterosexual and cisgender? We enjoy a societal privilege where we need not ever explain our sexual identity. With this privilege comes the responsibility to share it with those who lack it. We can be allies, using our visibility, our voice, our credibility to support those marginalized or underrepresented. So how can we express our allyship daily? Imagine a workplace scenario where a colleague makes a derogatory joke about homosexuals. We, as bystanders, can intervene to highlight that such words cause harm rather than amusement. Each of us can find our own way to respond effectively. And now imagine a scenario in which a transgender colleague is undergoing their gender affirmation process within the workplace. We are aware of their preference for pronouns that correspond to their affirmed gender. However, we notice that another colleague persistently uses pronouns associated with the transgender colleague's gender assigned at birth. The transgender individual refrains from correcting this mistake directly to avoid appearing overly demanding, but we understand that this misgendering causes them distress. As allies, what can we do? We can approach the colleague in error privately and gently and explain the importance of using the correct pronouns. By doing so, we foster a respectful and inclusive environment that honors the transgender person's identity. Allies can help make LGBTQI+ individuals visible and help them serve as role models. Role models have always been catalysts for change, offering new perspectives. Stopping a microaggression is a significant step towards preventing violence, inequality, and inequity, moving towards a society where everyone feels at home.